Assuming that the movement runs smoothly, it is now time to return the index guard that we moved out of the way when we were started disassembly back to its proper position. The index guard is the part that keeps the index and pawl jewels from falling off the edge of the index wheel due to a bump or a shock. The index finger passes through the small slot in the index guard. There should be equal clearance above and below the index finger in the slot. Normal current consumption should be between 5 and 7 microamperes. If the finger touches the guard, it will give a block fork indication on your meter. This can be demonstrated by lightly depressing the index guard so that it touches the index finger. The meter pointer will indicate high current consumption. To put the guard back into position, loosen the screw about a quarter of a turn, then slowly tighten it and the guard will go forward with the screw. Go forward slowly over the pawl and index fingers, making sure the guard does not contact either one. At this point, check the clearance under the microscope. Now you must realign the sweep second tension spring, which was moved out of the way so you could see the index wheel and jewels under the bridge. Loosen the center wheel bridge screw about a quarter of a turn, then retighten it and the tension spring will move into place. Make sure it is perfectly centered while tightening the center wheel bridge screw. If the spring is not perfectly centered, it will rub on the sweep pinion arbor and cause extra friction. Next, replace the sweep second pinion, making sure the nylon washer is on the sweep pinion shaft and under the third wheel. Now insert the chaton jewel with the countersunk oil cup upward. I have seen many watchmakers put it in upside down and the sweep second pinion moves up into the oil cup. It will not work that way. With the jewel in place properly, replace the chaton screws. Do not over-tighten them. Next, replace the safety bridge. With the movement dial side up, replace the minute and set wheels. First, lightly oil the pivot on the bottom side of the minute wheel and place it into the movement. Next, put the set wheel into its hole. Then the minute wheel spring. The short one with the large hole and the slight bend in the middle is placed over the minute wheel with the bent part downward. Now place the set spring on top of the minute wheel spring. Put the screw through both of them. Make sure the large hole is centered over the minute wheel pinion while tightening the screw. On the engineers and astronaut models, the movement is fitted with a hack lever which replaces the set spring. This lever blocks the fork when the crown is pulled into setting position. If you have this model, refer to the supplement for instructions on adjustment of this feature. Next, replace the shock bridge. Many watchmakers don't do this, but I put a little oil on the cannon pinion to lubricate the hour wheel. Now replace the hour wheel and the dial washer. Next, replace the dial. Turn the movement over, put in the 2 dial holding nuts, but do not over-tighten them. Otherwise, you might break off a dial leg, damage the dial by pulling little dimples into it, or strip the threads on the copper dial legs. Now replace the hands. It's best to use a staking set to push them down. Hold the tip of the sweep second hand with tweezers or a product like Radico while you set the hand with the staking tool. Be careful not to move the sweep hand in either direction because you might damage the index wheel or jewel. A move of only 1 second will spin the index wheel 5 times. Now you can replace the movement into the case. Put in a new 214 case gasket. The gasket, in addition to sealing the case, holds the movement in place. Place the case back, stem down through the hole near the safety bridge. Turn the crown bail to be sure the stem square is into the set wheel before closing the case. Now it is safe to replace and tighten the case locking ring. The final step is to install a power cell and hatch. Make sure the threads do not get crossed. The assembly is now completed. Regulation of this watch is best done on a good timing machine. The 4 cups each have a regulator and each has a range of 14 seconds from one end to the other, or a total of 28 seconds. Each projection and indentation has a value of 2 seconds. There is a reference dot on each cup. When the regulators are moved, each should be moved equally, 1/2 the amount of correction desired to keep the fork balanced. Moving the regulators inward or towards the center of the watch will cause the watch to run faster, while moving them away from the center will cause the watch to run slow. When the regulators are in the middle, the maximum correction is 14 seconds either way. However, you may move them beyond the reference dot for greater correction. There is also another factor that affects timekeeping of the Accutron. A tuning fork has an inherent position or poise error. With the 4 cups up, the watch will lose 4 1/2 seconds a day. With the 4 cups down, it will gain 4 1/2 seconds a day from a 0 rate in the flat position. With the 4 cups to the right or to the left, there is no difference in the rate from the horizontal position. When the watch is worn on the left arm, most of the time it is in the 4 cups down or gaining position, so you should adjust the watch to a rate of 2 seconds slow. In this way, it will be almost perfect within 2 seconds a day when worn on the customer's wrist, because this way it will average out. Now that we have completed servicing this Accutron 214, I would like to tell you a few more things about Accutron watches. Even though they have been out of production for over 16 years, there are still a great number of them being worn every day as dependable and accurate timepieces. It was, and still is, a very popular watch and is now becoming a collector's item. Since not many watchmakers know how to repair them, the goal of this video has been to try to reach those without this knowledge. I might add also that you can command a good price for servicing them, so it can be a profitable venture for you. It is becoming a little difficult to obtain parts, but many material jobbers still have some, so you might have to shop around. Accutron meters are no longer in production, but good used ones can be found. A good volt-ohm meter with a variable power supply can also be used in its place. Another problem we are starting to run into is mercury batteries. In some states, it is illegal to sell them, and you can use a number 394 silver oxide cell without any harm to the electronic circuit. However, in some instances, the watch will start to gain time excessively, or gallop. This can be corrected by rephasing the movement. You now have a good basic knowledge of the theory and the operation of the Accutron 214. and with a little ingenuity and common sense, you will be able to service this watch with confidence. I wish you good luck and success in this venture.